Jax's revenge domain.
The billionaire who owned the $42 million yacht I captained fired me at Key Largo, calling me just a boat driver. He ordered me off his vessel, expecting me to beg for my job. Instead, I followed his exact orders. I took the ship's tender and watched him run his pride and joy straight into a coral reef. 3 days later, I owned his yacht. My name is Wade Harrison, 47 years old, and I've been navigating these waters longer than most people have been alive. Spent 15 years in the Navy, another 12 running luxury yachts for people who think money can buy seamanship. It can't. The morning this all went down started perfect. Crystal clear water, light southwest breeze, barometer holding steady at 30.12. I was on the bridge of the Liberty Bell at 600, going through my routine checks. Coffee steaming in my Navy mug. Navigation charts spread across the table, GPS showing our position 5 miles southeast of Key Largo. The yacht hummed beneath my feet like a well-tuned machine. Twin Caterpillar engines purring at idle, all systems green across the board. I'd been running the Liberty Bell for 8 months. Beautiful vessel, 140 feet of Italian engineering and American excess. The kind of boat that drew stares in every marina from Miami to the Bahamas. 3 decks, helicopter pad, crew quarters that were nicer than most people's homes. She was fast, too. Could push 28 knots in calm seas, though I rarely let rich passengers experience what that felt like. Too many of them confused speed with seamanship. The owner was Braden Foster, 49 years old, tech entrepreneur who'd inherited his father's software company and somehow convinced himself he'd built it from scratch. The kind of guy who wore $2,000 polo shirts and talked about disrupting industries he'd never worked in. He'd made his money selling data algorithms to social media companies. Not exactly the kind of work that teaches you respect for the ocean. Foster was traveling with his daughter Sophia, 24 years old, fresh out of Stanford Law. Smart kid, seemed embarrassed by her father's behavior most of the time. She'd been polite to the crew, which was more than I could say for her old man. Danny Reeves, my chief mate, had mentioned she actually asked him about his Marine service in Iraq. Showed more interest in 10 minutes than her father had shown in 8 months. Danny and I went back to 2008, served together on the USS Fletcher in the Persian Gulf. Good man, steady under pressure, knew engines like some people know scripture. When I took this job, I specifically requested him as chief mate. Foster's previous captain had quit without notice. Apparently couldn't handle the constant second-guessing and entitled attitude. Should have been a red flag, but the pay was good, and I thought I could handle one more spoiled rich guy. Around 0630, I heard footsteps on the companionway. Foster appeared on the bridge, wearing boat shoes that probably cost more than most people's monthly salary. He had that look rich guys get when they're about to make demands they think are reasonable. "Morning, Harrison," he said, not bothering with pleasantries. "What's our ETA to Key West?" I checked the chart, did a quick calculation. If we maintain 18 knots through the sanctuary zone, we'll be there by 1900 hours. "That's 7 p.m., sir." His face darkened. "That's not going to work. My daughter's graduation party starts at 6. I've got investors flying in from California." "Sir, we're traveling through protected waters. Federal speed restrictions. I don't care about speed restrictions." Foster cut me off. "I need to be there by 6. Take the shortcut through the backcountry." There it was, the request I'd been dreading since we left Miami. The shortcut through the Everglades backcountry was a maze of shallow channels, shifting sandbars, and protected seagrass beds. On the chart, it looked like it could save us 3 hours. In reality, it was a navigation nightmare that required local knowledge I didn't have and a boat with half the draft of the Liberty Bell. "Mr. Foster, that route isn't safe for a vessel this size. We draw 8 feet, and some of those channels, are you telling me you can't do your job?" Foster stepped closer, invading my personal space the way entitled people do when they think intimidation works. Because if you can't handle navigating a simple shortcut, maybe I need a captain who can. I felt that familiar knot tighten in my stomach. The same feeling I got when junior officers on the Fletcher made decisions based on ego instead of experience. The kind of feeling that, in the Navy, meant someone was about to get people killed. "Sir, as captain of this vessel, I'm responsible for its safe navigation." That route requires a local pilot with specialized knowledge of local pilot. Foster laughed, but there wasn't any humor in it. I'm paying you 200 grand a year to be my pilot. If you need help doing your job, maybe I'm paying the wrong guy. Sophia looked up from her laptop, clearly uncomfortable with her father's tone. Dad, maybe we should just stay out of this, Sophia, Foster snapped without taking his eyes off me. This is between me and the help. The help. 27 years of maritime experience. 15 years serving my country, and to him I was just the help. Danny had come up to the bridge during the conversation. Probably heard Foster's raised voice from the engine room. He stood at the chart table, pretending to check our position, but I could see the tension in his shoulders. Danny had dealt with enough hostile authority figures in Iraq. He didn't need it on a yacht in paradise. Mr. Foster, I said, keeping my voice level. Under maritime law, the captain has absolute authority regarding navigation safety. I will not risk this vessel or its passengers by attempting a route I'm not qualified to navigate. Foster's face went red. The kind of red that comes from a lifetime of never being told no. Maritime law, he said, voice climbing an octave. You think maritime law applies to my property? I own this boat, Harrison. I own every bolt, every wire, every piece of equipment on it, and I'm telling you to take the damn shortcut. The silence that followed was thick enough to cut with a rigging knife. Foster stood there, breathing hard, waiting for me to back down. In his world, money always won these arguments. People apologized, made excuses, found ways to give him what he wanted. But I wasn't from his world. Sir, I understand you own this vessel, I said, my voice steady as a compass heading. But under Title 46 of the U.S. Code, the master of any vessel has absolute authority over navigation and safety decisions. That's federal law, not maritime tradition. Foster's eyes narrowed. He wasn't used to being quoted chapter and verse by the help. Are you seriously going to lecture me about federal law on my own boat? I'm explaining why I cannot comply with your request, I replied. The Everglades backcountry has a maximum safe draft of 6 feet at mean low tide. This vessel draws 8 feet. Even at high tide, we'd be risking a grounding that could cause millions in environmental damage. Environmental damage? Foster laughed, but it came out more like a bark. You sound like one of those tree hugger lawyers. What's next? You gonna tell me about the manatees? Sophia closed her laptop with a sharp click. Dad, he's trying to explain. I don't need explanations from either of you, Foster snapped. I need results. Harrison, you're paid to get me where I want to go. When I want to go there. If you can't do that, maybe it's time to find someone who can. Danny stepped forward from the chart table. Mr. Foster, Captain Harrison has 27 years of experience. I don't care if he has 50 years. Foster cut him off. Experience doesn't mean anything if you won't use it. What good is a captain who's afraid to take calculated risks? That word, calculated. As if Foster had any idea what real calculation looked like. I'd spent 3 years calculating torpedo firing solutions in the Persian Gulf. I'd calculated safe passage through minefields and hostile waters. I knew the difference between calculated risk and reckless stupidity. Mr. Foster, there's nothing calculated about attempting a 30-mile transit through waters I've never navigated, in a vessel too deep for the channel, carrying passengers I'm responsible for protecting. Foster stepped even closer. I could smell his expensive cologne mixed with the coffee on his breath. You know what I think, Harrison? I think you're scared. I think all that military training taught you to follow rules instead of thinking for yourself. The accusation hit like a physical blow. In the Navy, following rules kept people alive. Following procedures prevented disasters. The kind of disasters that happened when people like Foster decided they knew better than the experts. Sir, I'm not scared. I'm being responsible. Responsible? Foster's voice rose another octave. You call disappointing my guests responsible? You call making me look bad in front of my investors responsible? I've got people flying in from Silicon Valley for this party. People who could make or break my next acquisition. And you want me to tell them we're late because my captain was too scared to take a shortcut? I glanced at Sophia. She was staring at her father with a mixture of embarrassment and disappointment. Danny had moved closer, positioning himself where he could intervene if Foster got physical. It wouldn't be the first time we'd dealt with an aggressive drunk, though usually it was in a foreign port, not on a luxury yacht in American waters. Mr. Foster, your guests will understand that safety comes first. Any reasonable person? Reasonable? Foster exploded. You think I'm being unreasonable? Let me tell you what's unreasonable, Harrison. Unreasonable is paying you 200 grand a year for a captain who won't captain. Unreasonable is hiring someone who thinks he knows better than the guy signing his paychecks. He turned to Danny, and you, Torres, you've been nodding along with everything he says. Are you going to tell me you agree with this coward? Danny's jaw tightened. Sir, my name is Reeves, not Torres. And I agree with the captain's assessment. That route is not safe for this vessel. I don't care what your name is, Foster snarled. I care about getting results. And right now, neither of you is giving me results. That's when something fundamental shifted. Foster had crossed a line that even rich guys usually knew not to cross. You don't disrespect a Marine's name. You don't call veterans cowards, and you definitely don't do it in front of their battle buddy. I felt that cold calm descend, the same feeling I got when the Fletcher took incoming fire in the Gulf. Everything slowed down. The sound of the engines seemed to fade. Foster's angry face came into sharp focus. Mr. Foster, I said quietly, I'm going to say this once. I will not navigate this vessel through waters I'm not qualified to handle. I will not risk the lives of everyone on board for your convenience. And I will not tolerate disrespect toward my crew. Foster's face went from red to purple. Your crew? Your crew? Nothing on this boat is yours, Harrison. Not the crew, not the equipment, and certainly not the authority to tell me no. He pointed a shaking finger at my chest. You're just a boat driver, Harrison. A glorified chauffeur for people who actually matter. You wear that little uniform and stand behind a wheel and think you're some kind of naval commander. Well, you're not. You're an employee. My employee, and employees follow orders. The bridge went dead silent, except for the steady throb of the engines. Sophia was staring at her father with what looked like horror. Danny had gone very still, the way Marines do when they're deciding whether to engage or withdraw. Foster wasn't done. Let me make this crystal clear for your military mind, Harrison. I'm ordering you to take that route. Direct order from the vessel owner. If you refuse, you're fired. If you try to stop me from taking it myself, I'll have the Coast Guard arrest you for mutiny. He stepped back, breathing hard, clearly pleased with himself. In his mind, he'd just won the argument by pulling rank and making threats. But he'd made one critical mistake. He'd given me a direct order I couldn't legally follow, then threatened to fire me if I refused. Under maritime law, that constituted constructive dismissal and abandonment of command responsibility. Are you ordering me to navigate through the Everglades backcountry against my professional judgment? I asked. Yes, and you're threatening to terminate my employment if I refuse. That's right, I looked at Danny. He gave me the slightest nod. We both knew where this was heading. Very well, Mr. Foster, I said. I'm officially relieving myself of command. Foster's mouth dropped open. For a second, he looked like a man who'd just been told his credit cards were maxed out. What did you just say? I said I'm relieving myself of command. I repeated, walking to the ship's VDR console. You've given me a direct order that violates federal navigation safety requirements. Under maritime law, I cannot comply. I pulled out the master key card and set it on the chart table. Then I opened the ship's electronic log and began typing my final entry. Wait, hold on, Foster stammered. You can't just quit in the middle of the ocean. We're not in the middle of the ocean, sir. We're at anchor off Key Largo. And I'm not quitting. You fired me. I'm simply documenting the termination for the record. My fingers moved across the keyboard, 0947 hours. Captain Wade Harrison relieved of command by owner Braden Foster under threat of termination. Reason, refusal to navigate unsafe route through protected waters. Vessel left without licensed master. Officer of the watch, none assigned. This is insane, Foster said, but his voice had lost some of its edge. You can't leave me without a captain. You terminated the captain, sir. That's you, not me. I hit save and closed the log. Danny, secure your station. We're leaving. Danny didn't hesitate. He began shutting down his monitoring equipment, following the same methodical procedures we'd learned in the Navy. Always document everything. Always follow protocol, always protect yourself and your shipmates. Sophia finally spoke up. Dad, what are you doing? How are we supposed to get to Key West without a captain? I'll drive the damn boat myself, Foster snapped, but his eyes were darting between the instrument panel and the chart table. The Liberty Bell had more switches, gauges, and digital displays than a commercial airliner. How hard can it be? I almost felt sorry for him. Almost. Sir, you'll need a valid captain's license to operate a vessel this size in U.S. waters. You'll also need to file a crew manifest with the Coast Guard and maintain proper navigation logs. Insurance will be void without a licensed master. Don't lecture me about insurance, Foster shot back, but he was starting to look nervous. I can afford to self-insure. Can you afford the federal penalties for operating an unlicensed commercial vessel? Up to $100,000 per incident. Plus criminal charges if you cause environmental damage. Foster's face went pale. He was a businessman, after all. Numbers he understood. I walked to the equipment locker and pulled out my pre-packed ditch bag. Every professional mariner keeps one ready waterproof duffel with emergency gear, important documents, backup communications. In this case, it also contained the encrypted flash drive with voyage data recorder files from the last 48 hours. Every word spoken on the bridge was recorded digitally. Insurance companies loved that kind of documentation. You're actually leaving? Sophia asked, and for the first time she sounded worried. Your father ordered us off his property, ma'am. We're complying with the owner's directive. But how will you get to shore, ship's tender? I said, pointing to the 21-foot Boston whaler hanging in the davits on the port side. Standard safety equipment. Foster was studying the instrument panel, trying to make sense of the navigation display. Wait, these coordinates. How do I know where we are? GPS shows your position, sir. But you'll need to plot a safe course, account for currents and wind set, monitor depth soundings, maintain proper radio watch. I shrugged. Basic seamanship. This is ridiculous. Foster exploded. I'm not paying you to abandon ship like some kind of pirate. You're not paying me anything anymore, sir. You fired me, remember? Danny had finished securing his station and grabbed his own gear bag. Captain, ready to disembark. We headed down the companionway toward the port side deck. Foster followed, still sputtering protests. Harrison, this is insane. You can't just leave passengers stranded. You're not stranded, sir. You're the legal owner of a fully functional yacht. You just need a licensed operator. Where am I supposed to find a licensed operator? Key Largo Marine Services maintains a list of qualified captains for hire. Daily rate is typically $800 to $1,200, plus expenses. We reached the port deck where the tender was secured. It took us 15 minutes to lower the boat and transfer our gear. Foster watched the whole process, his anger gradually giving way to something that looked like panic. Look, Harrison, he said as I checked the tender's outboard motor. Maybe we can work something out. I was stressed about the party. Maybe I overreacted. Sir, you called me a coward and threatened to have me arrested for mutiny. That's not stress. That's who you are. Sophia appeared at the rail. Dad, maybe you should apologize. I'm not apologizing to an employee who won't do his job. Former employee, I corrected, and my job was keeping you safe. You fired me for doing it. I started the outboard. The 150-horse Yamaha caught immediately, settling into a steady rumble. Danny cast off the lines and we pulled away from the Liberty Bell's hull. Harrison, Foster called from the deck. You can't do this. I'll sue you for abandonment. Good luck with that, sir. I called back. Make sure to include the VDR recordings in your lawsuit. Your lawyers will love hearing you order me to violate federal navigation laws. We motored about 500 yards from the yacht and dropped anchor. From this distance, the Liberty Bell looked like what she was, a beautiful, expensive piece of machinery floating helplessly in paradise. Without a licensed crew, Foster's $42 million toy had just become his $42 million problem. Think he'll try to drive it himself? Danny asked. I pulled out my marine radio and switched to channel 16, the Coast Guard emergency frequency. Let's find out. We didn't have to wait long. Around 11 a.m., we heard the Liberty Bell's engine start up. Through binoculars, I watched Foster on the bridge, hunched over the controls like a teenager trying to figure out his father's car. The yacht began moving, slowly at first, then picking up speed as Foster gained confidence. He was heading southeast, toward the backcountry route he'd demanded I take. Bearing 125, speed increasing, Danny reported automatically. "He's actually going to try it," I said. "Should we call the Coast Guard?" I thought about it. Foster was a grown man operating his own vessel in U.S. waters. He had the legal right to be an idiot, as long as he didn't endanger anyone else. Not yet. But keep the radio ready. The Liberty Bell disappeared around the southern tip of Key Largo, heading into the maze of shallow channels and coral heads that made up the Everglades backcountry. I checked my watch, 11:23 a.m. In my professional opinion, Foster had about 2 hours before he learned the difference between owning a yacht and knowing how to operate one. At 1:47 p.m., we heard the sound every mariner dreads. It wasn't loud at first, just a distant grinding noise carried on the wind. But Danny and I both knew exactly what it meant. Fiberglass meeting coral at speed. "Contact," Danny said quietly, using the same terminology we'd learned tracking enemy submarines. Through binoculars, I could see a plume of white water about 3 miles southeast of our position. The Liberty Bell had come to a sudden stop in the middle of what looked like open water but was actually Molasses Reef, one of the most dangerous coral formations in the Florida Keys. "How bad you think it is?" Danny asked. I studied the yacht through the lenses. She was listing slightly to starboard, her bow buried in the coral. Even from this distance, I could see her stern swinging with the current, which meant she was hard aground. "Bad enough," I said, reaching for the marine radio. Coast Guard, this is motor vessel Second Chance. I'm reporting a grounding incident at approximately 25 degrees, 01.2 minutes north, 80 degrees, 22.8 minutes west. Motor vessel Second Chance. This is Coast Guard Group Key West. Please describe the nature of the incident. Large motor yacht, approximately 140 feet, appears hard aground on Molasses Reef. Vessel designation Liberty Bell. No immediate danger to persons visible, but vessel appears to be taking on water. Copy, Second Chance. Are you able to render assistance? I looked at our 21-foot tender, then at the grounded yacht. Negative. Coast Guard. Our vessel is too small for rescue operations. Recommend immediate response. Understood. Coast Guard cutter Yellowfin is en route, ETA 45 minutes. Within an hour, Molasses Reef looked like a small naval battle. Coast Guard cutters, marine patrol boats, environmental response teams, and salvage vessels converged on the scene. The Liberty Bell sat in the middle of it all like a beached whale, her white hull stark against the turquoise water. We motored closer to get a better view. Through binoculars, I could see Foster on the aft deck, gesticulating wildly at Coast Guard personnel. Sophia was sitting in one of the deck chairs, her head in her hands. "Think they'll arrest him?" Danny asked. "Probably not. But the fines are going to hurt." My phone rang. I checked the caller ID, Garrett Stone, Admiral Justice Marine Attorneys. "Garrett, you're fast. Wade, I've been monitoring Coast Guard channels. Please tell me you documented everything. Every word is on the VDR. Plus, I've got witnesses." "Outstanding. I'm filing emergency maritime liens right now." Environmental damage to a protected reef, unlicensed operation of a commercial vessel, reckless endangerment. Foster just handed us a legal goldmine. What about insurance? His policy specifically excludes coverage for unlicensed operation. The yacht is effectively uninsured for this incident. Wade, if the environmental damage is as bad as it looks, we're talking about a $15 to $20 million liability. I watched the Coast Guard crews working around the Liberty Bell. Environmental specialists in hazmat suits were already in the water, documenting damage to the reef. How long until we know the full extent? NOAA will have preliminary damage assessments within 48 hours. But Wade, even without environmental penalties, Foster's looking at massive salvage costs just to refloat that yacht. And given what you've told me about his behavior, I doubt any reputable captain will work for him again. That evening, Danny and I sat in a waterfront bar in Key Largo watching the news coverage. The story had gone national. Tech billionaire crashes yacht into protected coral reef, environmental groups calling for maximum penalties. The reporter was standing on a Coast Guard cutter, the Liberty Bell visible in the background. Environmental officials say the damage to this protected coral reef could take decades to recover. The yacht's owner, tech entrepreneur Braden Foster, was attempting to navigate through restricted waters without proper licensing when the vessel ran aground. My phone buzzed with a text from Sophia Foster. "Mr. Harrison, I apologize for my father's behavior. You were right about everything. Would it be possible to speak with you about what happens next?" I showed the message to Danny. He shrugged. "Kid seems decent. Not her fault, her dad's an idiot." I typed back, "Miss Foster, I'll be at Admiral Justice Marine Attorneys tomorrow at 10 a.m. if you'd like to discuss the situation. The legal proceedings took 6 months. Foster's insurance company refused coverage, citing the unlicensed operation clause. The environmental damage assessment came back at $2.3 million. Salvage costs to refloat the Liberty Bell added another $800,000. Legal fees and penalties brought the total to $15.2 million. Foster tried everything. He hired 3 different law firms, claimed I'd abandoned my post, accused me of sabotage. But the VDR recordings were crystal clear. Every word of our confrontation was documented digitally, including his direct order to take the unsafe route and his threat to fire me for refusing. The final settlement conference took place in Miami. Foster looked older, grayer, like a man who'd finally learned that money couldn't solve every problem. His lawyers had advised him to settle rather than face criminal charges for environmental destruction. "Mr. Foster," Garrett said across the mahogany table, "my client is prepared to accept $8.5 million in damages, plus transfer of the vessel title to satisfy the maritime lien." "That's more than the yacht is worth," Foster's lawyer protested. "The yacht is worth whatever someone will pay for it," Garrett replied smoothly. "Right now, with a damaged hull and a reputation for running into reefs, I'd estimate market value at about $6 million. My client is being generous." Foster signed the papers without saying a word. I used my share of the settlement to buy a small marina in Key West. Harrison Maritime Academy now trains military veterans in commercial seamanship. We teach proper navigation, environmental responsibility, and respect for the ocean. Sophia Foster surprisingly became our legal counsel. She'd specialized in environmental law and wanted to make up for her father's mistakes. Smart kid, turned out to have more backbone than her old man. Last month, I was fueling up at the dock when a familiar figure walked past. Braden Foster, looking tired, wearing clothes that actually fit his budget. He was with a charter captain, apparently paying someone else to drive him around the waters he'd once tried to navigate himself. When he saw me, he stopped. For a moment, I thought he might say something, maybe an apology, maybe another threat. Instead, he just nodded once and kept walking. The ocean doesn't care about your money, your connections, or your ego. It only respects competence, experience, and humility. That day off Molasses Reef, Foster learned the difference between owning something and knowing how to use it. Some lessons cost $15 million. But for guys like Foster, sometimes that's what it takes. In the military, we had a saying, "Respect is earned in drops and lost in buckets." Foster learned that the hard way. It took him 49 years to build his fortune and 49 minutes to lose his reputation. The difference between a leader and a boss is simple. A leader earns authority through competence. A boss demands obedience through fear. The ocean doesn't care which one you think you are.